He says, in the presence of Joseph, do not give airs and behave like a beauty. Offer nothing but the supplication and sighs of Jacob. That's what the Shaykh was talking about last night. Right? In the story, in the Quran, right? Jacob, Yaqub alayhi salam, is of course the father of Yusuf alayhi salam, Joseph. And when Joseph is taken by his brothers, and right, Jacob yearns for his son who's gone, and he only has his shirt. They bring his shirt back, and so he yearns for him. Now, it is said, of course, that Joseph was the most beautiful, that half of beauty was given to him. He had this immense beauty, physical beauty. They say Aisha radiallahu anha, when she heard that, she said the Prophet was given all of beauty, sallallahu alayhi. But Rumi uses Joseph as a symbol to symbolize Allah, the divine beauty. Inna Allaha jamilun yuhibbu jamal. Indeed, Allah is beautiful and loves beauty, right? So all beauty is from Allah. So he's saying, don't try to be the beauty yourself. Be the one who yearns for the beautiful one, right? Don't try to be the beloved, be the lover, right? Be Jacob in the story who yearns for Joseph. Don't try to be like, I'm the beautiful one. No, because it's through humility that you will attain. No. And then he says, the means of dying as conveyed by the parrot. So now he's going to sometimes he just tells the symbolism. What is he getting at? The means of dying as conveyed by the parrot was niyaz. Niyaz means, it can mean supplication, it can mean humility, it can mean lowering oneself, but it's almost like this state of what we do in prayer, like this, like turning up in need, feeling your need. And then he says, and poverty, faqr. They're called the dervish or the fuqara, means poverty, means need, right? So it's like emptying your cup, being humble, being in need, and then Allah will fill you. As long as you're full, the cupbearer will be like, oh, the cup's full, right? You know, if you're at the house of a generous host, they're going to look whose cup is empty. And whenever it's empty, they're going to rush to fill it. But as long as your cup is full, you're not going to receive anything more. You have to empty your cup of yourself. And then Al-Kareem, Allah, generosity itself, will pour. So this is, he said, the meaning of death is this, being in this state. Niyaz, faqr. The Sufis are called the fuqara because this pure humility. And it's interesting we think about lowering ourselves because symbolism in our traditions that water represents divine mercy, rahmah, water. And also it represents ma'rifah, spiritual experience. And in creation we look, where does water seek? It will never stop until it finds the lowest place. It will not be content until it finds the lowest place, and then it will stop. So whoever humbles himself more receives the divine mercy. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, he said, you are closest to Allah when you're in prostration. Because this is the physical act that represents complete selflessness, complete humility. And Rumi says, give up your drop, right? So we're like each a drop of water. He says, give up your droppiness and become the ocean, right? You think yourself a drop in the ocean, but you're the entire ocean in a drop. But we can't walk around like, I'm a drop, look at me, I'm a special drop. He's saying, fall to the surface. What happens when a raindrop falls to the sea? Where did it go? Just the sea. When you attain this state, you are the sea. So this is what he's saying. And this more is the exact center point of in the entire of book 1. So this is the central message of book 1, which is the theme of the nafs. If you want to transcend your nafs, your individuated selfhood, your ego self, niyaz and faqr. This humility, this spiritual poverty, and this turning completely. This is the essence. This is the essence. No. And this is why the cage of reputation, because as long as people praise you, your cup becomes more full. Ooh, they're pouring in. If they're pouring in and you're content with the praise of people, then you're not going to, there's a story that someone came to a sheikh, and he was a bit full of himself, this person. He had studied a lot. So he went to the sheikh, and the sheikh was serving tea. And so he said, tell me about yourself. And he said, I've studied so-and-so with so-and-so, and I studied this with so-and-so, and I have ijazah, and I have this, and I have this. And the sheikh was listening, and he kept pouring. He said, wow. And then it started to overflow, and he kept pouring. He said, wow. And the man was talking, and he looked. He said, stop pouring. What are you doing? It's overflowing. And he said, you're like this cup. You're just overflowing. He said, how can I pour anything in you? You're just so full already of yourself. Allah forgive us. You know, and one of our beloved Sheikh Muhammad Jilani, he told us that his father, he was in the Sahara Desert, and he was studying with some of the great scholars, and he studied many things. His father sent him to study with different scholars. Then when he came back to his father after a number of years, and he brought his ijazahs, his the traditional way you would get you could call it diploma, but it's a license that you have studied this in a chain of transmission, and it gives you the license to then teach it. So a master would say, you have ijazah. So he showed his father all his ijazahs, and his father said, very nice. And he took them and he threw them in the fire. He burned them all. To teach him, like, okay, you got that? Now let go. Let go of every claim. And these are how the people of Allah would be. They would be very mindful of the way that the cage of reputation can harm. And of course, on the spiritual path, self-righteousness is a big danger, right? Because the thing is, the ego, when it gets some truth, the ego, the lower self, if it can't reject the truth, it's very tricky. So if it can't reject the truth, it will say, okay, I can't reject the truth. This person is making me submit to the truth. But then it will try to co-opt the truth and become like a spiritualized ego. Okay, if I can't reject it, then I'm going to try to co-opt it and be like, my Sufi order, my tariqah, or my group, or I've had this experience, and it's very dangerous. So may Allah protect us from our lower self. This is also the importance of community, suhbah, and also those more mature than us on the path, guides, because they'll see, and they'll help us to overcome this trick of the nafs. So this is the center of book 1, the transforming of the nafs. And the central message, of course, of this parrot is mutu qabla an tamutu. This famous saying of the Sufis, in a sense you could say the motto of the Sufis, die before you die. Die before you die. What does it mean? Of course, it doesn't mean that you kill yourself. La. It means you kill off that part of yourself which is your illusory self, the ego self. That's what it means. It means you let go of that. You let that die. The illusory self that you identify with. Me, I. Even now people say, I identify as. It's the nafs. It wants to identify as everything. I identify as. Let go of that. Right? Let go of whatever you identify as. Identify as a servant. The Prophet ﷺ said, and this was also commented on in the song of the Qasida of Imam al-Haddad that our brothers sung, when he said, Ana abdun sara fakhri. I'm a slave whose pride is my poverty. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Faqru fakhri. In Arabic it has a beautiful resonance. Faqru fakhri means my poverty is my pride. It's that what I'm proud of is that I need Allah. Is that I'm a servant of Allah. Is that Allah created me. It's not any of these outward things. This is what our pride should be. Right? Pride is a strange word in English because it can be positive or negative. Kibr can never be positive. Kibr is like arrogance. But fakhr in Arabic, it can be like we use pride. Fakhr can be a positive thing. Like Fakhruddin is a name. So the Prophet ﷺ is, and this is one of the great secrets, right? Those that lower themselves most rise the highest, ascend the highest, This is one of the great secrets. And one of our sheikhs, Habib Ali al-Jifri, great sage of our time, he was once asked, he said, when you were a young student, how did you receive your fath, your opening? He said, I received my opening when I sincerely prayed that everyone studying with me would receive their opening before me. That's when Allah gave me my opening.